You guys just you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Puerto, and this is Ryan Kulak.
What's up, Drop Pod people? It is episode 127. We are here for Tuesday, March 11th. Mike, we got a very special, super awesome episode coming up today. We had our first round of the Parkway playoff last week, and I know that we got some updates there. We got some stuff to talk about. That'll be coming up. Yesterday, Monday, the new brackets came out with the Sweet 16. So we're going to get into that as well later in the show. Today, Tuesday, episode 127. If you are listening to this, head over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. If you are watching this on YouTube, wave to the cameras, Mike. Make sure you go give us a follow on Instagram. You can listen to us, give us a 5-star rating. We really do appreciate all those likes, subscribes, rates, reviews, all that good stuff. Tomorrow's a big day for us. Wednesday is a twofold tag team matchup that we have here. Voting begins for the Sweet 16 at noon on our Instagram page, the drop_pod. Head on over there at noon, get the voting, get your votes in quick. It quickly dwindles down here. 32-16, and it's just going to be another battle royale this week. And then you can go to work at 12. You can stop what you're doing, go back to work, and then at 4:00, jump back on YouTube because we are releasing a video from Hamilton Farms and our day there, and the experience that Mike and I had. It's going to be talking all about the day, right? 4:00. It's set to premiere Wednesday. Go check it out. Thursday, another big day, back-to-back big days, Mike. You and I got the opportunity to virtually sit down with Dan Rappaport. He is from Golf Insider. He's the host of Dan on Golf. We've talked to him before. D-Rap, as he's affectionately known at, the Adam Schefter of golf. That's going up on Thursday. He's our interview this week. And perfect with our full swing coming out last week. He's integral in that. We had Chad Mum. I mean, it's just boom, 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 one right after the other here for us. And then Friday, episode 14 of Physical Fitness Fridays we got. So we're rolling with that. Dr. Mike and I are in the Fortress of Swolitude and doing our thing there. So we got a loaded week this week, Mike. Really, really loaded week.
It's like the Royal Rumble. Like, who's left standing at this point? I mean, you got this, you got that, you got this guy running down the aisle. It's a jam-packed week, but I know that's what the audience likes, the content they love, and our job is to do our best to provide that. And I think this week is going to be one of those all-time weeks. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Today's episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors, your go-to for anything exterior home remodeling. Discover the excellence of All County Exteriors, a third-generation leader in premier exterior home remodeling, proudly celebrating over 40 years of success. While most remodeling companies last just 5 years, All County Exteriors has withstood the test of time, consistently delivering top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Their expertise extends from small repairs to large additions, serving homeowners and builders alike. More than just a construction company, All County Exteriors is deeply committed to community service, proudly supporting organizations such as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call now for an instant 20% off savings on your next project. This is a limited time offer. Call now for a free, no obligation consultation. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. All right, so let me hit you here with the fast facts for this week. Again, I know. Let's dive straight to the PGA Tour, and there was a little 2-tournament thing going on, similar to what has done in the past. You got the signature event at the Arnold Palmer, along with the Puerto Rico Open. And I should say last week, but as we're currently filming, Max is T23. I know last week I said Max is going to, was kind of finishing in the T40, 30 range, and he had a great final round and finished T11. So again, like we've said many times, if someone makes a move over the weekend, you'll hear from us ahead of time. But, Max continues to pile up solid rounds, solid finishes, one after another. And it's, hopefully it's inevitable that he bounds and he gets through. So Max is obviously T23 as we're recording. And then if I quickly shift over to the Puerto Rico Open, unfortunately, John Pack did miss the cut. And I know this was breaking last week, but Dawson Jones, a former guest of the show, another golfer right here in the Garden State, he had Monday qualified and he got in. And I will say this about Dawson, he did miss the cut, okay? But if you look deeper into the rounds, he was playing very, very well in that first round, and then a rainstorm came through, and he didn't finish his round as he was playing. He had to come back onto the golf course and went double bogey to finish his round, which kind of really derailed him. But it was nice to get his feet wet there on the PGA Tour in his first start ever.
100%. Yeah, it's unfortunate. What's the Frank Sinatra song? That's life, and that's what it is. You got to kind of overcome. You got to be mentally strong, physically strong to overcome something like that. And unfortunately, just had it rolling on Thursday, but came out, struggled, and then then you get in your head, I'm sure, without talking to him or without knowing. But I'm sure you end a previous round double and bogey 2-3 over for the end of a round when you had it going, and now you kind of put pressure on the next round. It's a lot, and hopefully that he can use it as a learning experience. Hopefully he can build from it, grow from it, and just, again, another great opportunity for him. Monday qualified, got in, had a start, and hopefully he can grow from it for sure.
Yeah, and to that point now, his conditional status on the Korn Ferry Tour starts to kick in. So as they come back to the States, he'll start to get a few more starts down there as well. So our boy Dawson doing some nice things. But I will say this on a big-time positive note. Our guy, Chris Gotterup, is currently sitting T13. Now, if you were following on Thursday and Friday, there was many parts of that where Chris was either in the lead by himself or he was T1. He did catch a little bit of a hiccup there in the third round, where he did kind of make he started the back nine. He was 4 under on his round. So he was somewhere in like the 17 under range, but then starts his back nine bogey double and kind of, hit him back a little bit. But as we're recording right now, he is T13, but he's only 5 shots back from the lead. So there's an outside chance that Chris goes low. And you have heard from us already that Chris has done something he's done in the past, and he's won an opposite field event when something bigger was going on. Yeah. But hey, what counts as a win is a win is a win, right?
Absolutely. And Mike, you and I talked about this, during the week as this was going on. He likes Puerto Rico. It was his first start when he had the conditional, like the college sponsors exemption. Thank you. He's done well there. I think he likes it down there. So hopefully he can go low and make some noise. And, even if he goes low and doesn't win the tournament, going from, moving up the field from T5 to maybe a solo second, something like that would be a big confidence boost for sure after, hiccup on Saturday's round. So yeah, good luck to Chris.
And I think it's great juju for him heading into this week, which is the players.
doubt.
And Chris and Max are in the field. And hey, listen, how sweet would it be if one of those two guys figure it out this week? I mean, you're on the biggest stage, one of the best golf courses in the world, signature everything. It is
Everybody's
the
there.
players' Yeah. I mean, so those two guys are in the field this week. So we're hopeful.
And
we're hopeful.
Mike, if I'm not mistaken, isn't this the Creator Classic this week?
It's Wednesday. Yep,
tomorrow.
Wednesday.
So,
Yep.
I mean, I haven't checked my mail in a little bit, but do you think the invitations are at the time that we're recording here? We got, a few days. Think they're going to have us down there? Maybe they're waiting for us last minute, and we're going to get a private jet down there, and we're going to be like, like James, where we just run off the private jet and onto the first tee.
Maybe. I keep my DMs open.
Okay.
I keep my DMs open.
I'm looking forward to actually the Creator Classic almost as much as I am the event itself, Mike, just because I think I said it with the dunk contest last week or a couple weeks ago now. Get some of these guys in here that do things. Like, let's see Kyle Berkshire. Let's see him hit a drive 450 yards and get a green in one on a long par 4. Let's see that. Let's see these guys that hit ridiculous, like are slinging shots around the trees. Let's see what these guys are really good at golf. They just don't have that final it factor, right? Like, again, Kyle Berkshire, long drive champion now, does all this stuff on Instagram. He just doesn't have that final it. He's a fantastic golfer, but that last final, like, it to be a professional golfer, right? There's something innately, maybe it's more mental than physical, right? But he's missing whatever that is. And that's not a knock on him. I'm not trying to kill Kyle for it, but he's a fantastic golfer. Let's see what he does against some of these other guys who are at the same level, but just missing that single tiny little bit of professionalness. I don't, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a fun day.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be something that you and I will tune into, and I think the influencing aspect of what these guys do is the interesting part.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really what draws a lot of people in. So big week when you look at it. And as I quickly kind of finalize this fast fact thing on the Korn Ferry Tour, unfortunately, down there in Chile, James did miss the cut. Okay. And Ryan withdrew. Again, I'm kind of crossing my fingers that it's nothing serious. I wasn't able to find out the specific reason, but I know we've had him on in the past, and he had been battling some injuries here and there. So he was right around the cut line too. So it wasn't like something was going on in his golf game. You just got to hope he's not too badly injured.
Yeah, I wonder, Mike, if he just decided to pack it in and get even more rest. Like, let's not hurt it anymore for the weekend because they're off for a couple weeks now. So I wonder if that's the case. But I don't know if that's the case. Maybe why would you start? I don't know. But hopefully he gets right, because you hate. There's nothing worse than seeing a player who's able to do it and just can't get off the injury bug, and that not wasted potential, but potential not fully seen or realized because you're constantly coming back from injuries. I hope that he's okay.
Yeah, and then obviously they take a little bit of a break when they come back to the States. So, they're on a little bit of a hiatus here until April. So gives them some time to recoup and recover. So that's kind of my recap right there and the preview of what lies ahead on both the Korn Ferry Tour and the PGA Tour.
It was good. I like the announcer voice.
Thank you. All right.
So let me start here, Mike, because I want to give the caveat to everybody here. From this point forward, I don't know what this episode is going to bring. I don't know where we're going. I don't know any of the results. I haven't seen anything. I have specifically stayed off. I voted for I did my voting, but I've stayed off Instagram, and I have ignored messages from you about what's going on in this specifically, so that I'm in the same boat as anyone that's listening right now. Or I guess that saw the results yesterday.
AKA you've lived under a rock the last week if you've not done anything like that. Okay. Now, I will say this. I had to explain multiple times to a lot of people about why courses weren't in and why certain courses were. So again, I'm just going to throw this disclaimer out there for our new followers and our new listeners. It's courses that we want to play in 2025 based upon the list that we pushed back in the wintertime. And that's how the courses made the list. Now, yes, there were some that were just left off. March Madness, you always get those court teams that should have been in that didn't make it. That's kind of how this fell. And the other caveat was when it came to the matchups, I know that some came out and it was really, to the audience, one-sided. But I wasn't going to mix and match things because that's how it came out. That's what I was going to provide. And I saw some matchups that were like, man, that's really one-sided, or to some people unfair. But I also know it's not like what is the nicest golf course. It's an audience-based thing, a follower-based thing, and you get to cast your vote. Okay. So with that being said, what
you did also forget. Yep. This is also courses. This excludes courses that we have played recently. So while it's courses we want to play, it's courses we want to play that we haven't played recently. So again, let's take Ridgewood. I would love to play Ridgewood. It's a top 100 course in the country. No doubt. Nobody's saying Ridgewood shouldn't be on this list. But Mike and I were fortunate enough to go there this year and play at all 27 and experience all that Ridgewood has. So Ridgewood is not on the list because we've played it recently. This is not us saying it doesn't deserve to be on the list. So again, that seems to get lost in translation a little bit, but we're going to keep pushing out the directions like school teachers, and their kids are, not paying attention.
But I will say this. What a Wednesday. Last Wednesday might go down in history as one of the best days that we've ever had on social media. Okay. Over 30,000 views combined on all 16 matchups. Wow. Nearly 12,000 total votes across each of the matchups. Courses were unbelievably kind in sharing their matchup out to get their people out to vote. So what a day. What a day.
It's huge.
What a day.
That is huge.
Yeah. So I decided to put together a little. Yeah, it was insane. Insane numbers. So I do want a little pop quiz here for you. I got a couple of questions, and I want to kind of see.
So, Mike, I do want to. I'm going to quickly interrupt here. We only have 9,000 followers, but 12,000 people voted. So, in theory, some new people have jumped on. And welcome to our new people, right? Get on your friends. Have them follow us as well.
Yeah. So I got a little pop quiz here because I want to go through the matchups in terms of what happened.
Okay.
And then we can kind of preview what will happen tomorrow.
And again, Mike has the sheet for the Sweet 16 ready, but I haven't seen it yet. So I'm going to wait. We're going to talk about it. Then I'll open up the Sweet 16 and we'll do that together. So
my first question for you is, out of all 32 golf courses, which golf course gathered the most votes? And how many were there?
I always struggle with this just because we're not, you're the Instagram, the social media side, but my guess would be Galloping Hill or Architects.
You always got to throw in the B. I mean, it's a multiple choice question with one choice.
Okay, well, because I don't have all the information, it's tough for me to guess.
Yeah, so pick one, and you get. I'm going to say it's 1 through 32.
Architects Hill.
Yes, you're right.
Architects Hill.
And how many?
How many total votes? I couldn't even tell you. 2,000.
So Baltusrol Lower was the winner with the most amount of votes at 697 alone.
Okay, I was nowhere close on both of them.
Nope. Which is kind of crazy because you and I had said it'll be interesting how some of the privates fare, knowing that they're not heavy on Instagram. But I think also the caveat lies with the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
People know Baltusrol Lower. There's not like they don't need to have a social presence to know. Anybody in the state would be like, oh, that course is incredible.
Which also makes it when the matchup is, no offense to Mercer Oaks West, but when you have Mercer Oaks West going up against a behemoth, more times than not, it's a runaway. And unfortunately, Baltusrol Lower won 93% of the vote to 7. That was the biggest blowout that we had across all 16 matchups. But I guess I can't say that anybody would be surprised.
Right. Why? I mean, no offense to Mercer Oaks. Why are you voting for Mercer Oaks in that matchup? You think it's how many I meant to put Baltusrol and I hit Mercer Oaks. Like how many missed fingers?
I'll tell you, I bet you I have a better answer for you.
Okay.
Because the people in Mercer County would love to see us come there. And I think those people that are out in that area, the Princeton area, the Robbinsville area, would like to see the drop pod in person, play 36 holes at their golf course, and maybe, just maybe, the 16 upsets the 1, and it happens.
Okay.
Maybe they wanted to be a part of history, and unfortunately, they weren't. Doesn't mean we wouldn't visit. But
again, would love to play Baltusrol Lower. Love to play all of Baltusrol. But I've been on record to say I'm really looking forward to getting out to that area, right? I really do want to. So yeah, we're gonna make that happen, Mike. It's interesting to think like you got a hometown course, that's great, but you got to know that there's better than your hometown course.
Right.
I don't mean to to knock it as much, but when you're going against a PGA level tour course, it's tough to.
So I will say, out of the 16 teams that moved on, how many were private and how many were public?
So we had 17 and 15 last week, right? Does that make 32?
32. Right. So now I need 16 left. So how many private, how many public are left?
I'm going to say to get to 16, 9 would be 9 and 8, right?
That's
9 and 7. I'm going to say 11 and 5. 10 and 6. 10 and 6. Final answer.
12 privates, 4 publics.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the public took a beating.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep, the public took a beating. And
how many matchups were there where it was, because you have public on public, how many were public on private that like the private just moved on? Because we've always said the privates are better. Not necessarily better, but the privates are traditionally, they have more money. They're privately owned. They can do whatever they want. So they're traditionally better manicured, better maintained. They get less play. So traditionally they're in better shape. So how many were public on private and the private advanced?
all of them.
All of those were. Okay.
Not one public golf course upset a private golf course.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's
so, which I was stunned with, because I thought that, but I also say this because this brings me to my next question to you. Had the matchup been different, we talked a lot about Ballamore and their following. We talked a lot about Galloping Hill and their following. I think had one of those two golf courses been up against a private golf course, they would have stood the best chance knowing their following, along with Architects, who those three courses, the way the draw came out, were either obviously the Galloping Hill versus Ballamore was its own matchup, but then even Architects battled Highbridge Hills, another public golf course. So I think those three golf courses, and that's where this week will be interesting. But as my last question for the recap of last week, your boys at Ballamore versus our guys at Galloping Hill was actually, it was the closest matchup of them all. Who won? What was the difference in votes?
Galloping Hill won 52-48.
Wow. Did you look?
No.
That was spot on.
Was it?
Spot on. Ding, 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 ding. Magic winner. Here we go. Send him the prize. Aisle 4, please. 52% Galloping Hill, 48% Ballamore. I know you wanted Ballamore to go to the finals. That was your prediction on that side. But Galloping Hill wins by a smooth 31 votes, the closest matchup of all 16 matchups in that first round. That kind of recaps last week.
Yeah, Mike, I'm not necessarily surprised. Galloping Hill's got a huge following. The guys up there are fantastic to us. It's my own fault that I haven't been up there yet since doing this. That's early on my list. I'm going to be making a trip up there. Hopefully you can join me. But that's a spot where I have to get up to quickly because I haven't. Having been to Ballamore and knowing how nice it is, if the people are saying that it's nicer than it's not as nice as Galloping Hill, then I got it. That's a big stay.
Everything is happening at Galloping Hill Golf Course in 2025. Where else can you play on 27 holes of golf, practice at a lit and heated driving range, eat and drink all year round at a sports bar, host the wedding of your dreams, and now enjoy one of the only municipally owned golf simulators in the country? The Swing Suite at Galloping Hill uses state-of-the-art Unicore technology that allows you to play any of the greatest courses in the world or use the great technology to work on your game. The newly reopened concession stand serves all of your pub favorites and seasonal beers on tap while you hang out, watch the game, and compete with your friends. Head to learningscenterghgc.com to book your slots now. At the Hill Tavern in the main clubhouse, kids eat free all winter long. The banquet space never shuts down either, hosting over 150 golf outings and over 400 social events per year. Their catering team consistently wins awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. And to top it all off, Galloping Hill has been chosen for the record 12th time to host the 91st New Jersey Men's Public Links Championship. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill Golf Course. All right, so now as we preview tomorrow's matchups, why don't you pull up the big screen? Why don't you look it over real quick? Why don't you quickly digest the matchups? Because I think this is when it gets interesting.
Mike, I'm gonna share my screen again.
Okay, do that
for all that are
watching.
Yeah.
So as you're pulling it up, I will say this is going to be a very interesting week. The Sweet 16. If the voting was as good as it was last week, I think you got some incredible matchups here. Are you able to make that the full screen here?
I am in full screen.
Oh, okay. So maybe on mine it just looks that way. Okay. No big deal. So let's go through this.
Yeah, we should be good.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. So as we go through this, I obviously seen it. I've obviously talked about it in my mind to myself. What do you see? What stands out? Give me some info. What's your initial take?
I was interested in the Alpine Hackensack one. Again, both kind of in that same part of New Jersey. Both have a very good following. We've talked highly about both of them. Other people have talked highly about both of them. That's not necessarily the Hollywood Mountain Ridge Goliath matchup that there was, but I was interested to see who won that, and Hackensack coming out on top. Mike, do you have the numbers on that one?
I do. So I'll give you Hackensack nearly doubled up Alpine.
Wow.
It was 68% Hackensack, 32% Alpine. And I'll tell you, there's a caveat with that one too, is I guess that's going to be the word of the day for me,
Okay.
but Hackensack did an unbelievable job in sharing the story. Okay. Their people were out there and active doing it. I could not get people at Alpine to share it, which is what it is at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it does help the other course. The other matchup I know that you wanted to know about was Mountain Ridge and Hollywood.
Yes.
I know that Galloping Hill and Ballamore were the closest. This was the second closest, where Hollywood winning 54% to 46% by a margin of 65 votes.
Wow.
So Hollywood wins that one.
Okay. Man, this is a tough one here because Architects is so out there. A lot of people love it. It gets high praise. It's active on social, Due Process, I would imagine, is almost zero footprint on social. I don't know if that's fair to say, Mike, but
It is fair to say.
I would imagine that's a club that likes to be not as well known. It likes to be Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean. It likes to only be known by people who know how to get there. And I'm interested to see that because that's a beautiful course. Architects got a strong following. I'm interested in that matchup. I would think Atlantic City is going to beat Morris County. The history at ACCC, we'll have to see what brings there. The Hackensack, Trump, Bedminster, Hollywood, Somerset. That's a loaded bottom of the bracket. I'm still going with one of those two is making the run. Wow, that's some interesting matchups.
Meaning now you're on Hollywood. You're on Hollywood now because they beat Mountain Ridge.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, we got one public golf course here holding it out for us public folk with Architects. Again, I know Architects. If you did straight up numbers of last week of Architects total votes compared to Due Process's total votes,
love that.
Architects would have beaten them by 20 votes.
Okay.
And I think,
wow.
Again, that kind of speaks to the following around Architects. But I also know Due Process is kind of that hidden gem that nobody talks about and would love to get some info about that place. And they're not going to get many pictures from that place. And I've reached out to a couple people and they're like, nope, not allowed to share anything with you. So it is a very secluded place, but a very special one. So it'll be, I think, of all the matchups, I think the heavyweight one is Hollywood Somerset Hills. But I also think the most interesting one is definitely Due Process and Architects.
For sure there. All right, we're moving on to the next side.
Let's do it.
All
right. So as you quickly digest that,
Scotland Run goes down.
Quick little glance there. All I can say is both my final predictions of that reel that came out are alive. I got Architects still alive, and I got my boys at Bayonne, even though they're not my boys. But like I said, maybe one day they will be. What do you see? Because you got quite a few more publics on this side.
You got three.
You got three publics, and they're all battling against a private.
And against a good private as well. So I'm the same thing. Galloping Hill versus the Rigid Backbrook. I think that one is kind of like on the other side with the Due Process and Architects. Galloping Hill, big time following. The Ridge, not really a following would be my guess.
Not on social media.
Not even on social media. So I would think that. I think that we're going to have an upset there with Galloping Hill. But then,
do you want to know the numbers based upon last
week?
Week?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
The Ridge would have won by over 100 votes.
Wow. That's shockingly high to me. If you were to tell me the Ridge would have beaten it, I wouldn't have been shocked by that. But 100 votes seems like a lot.
Now, again, that's based upon the matchup that's going on. But if you just looked at total votes accumulated, Ridge would have beaten him by over 100 votes.
Yeah. Okay, that's a super interesting one. Upper versus Rock Spring. We loved Rock Spring. That's a tough one to get out of, though. You got to think Bayonne's going to keep moving on, and I'll tell you, the possibility of having Bayonne versus Baltusrol Upper. I mean, I don't know if we have two bigger, heavy-hitting potential clubs coming up. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I guess I would like to know, obviously I'm rooting for Bayonne and Architects, right? What is a sleeper match? What's the one golf course when you look at that, you're like, you know what? They're going to make a run right now. They're going to make a run.
Oh, man. I don't think there. I don't think there. I don't think there. I don't. The sleeper pick is the needed one, right? Like so say I think Architects is going to move on. I don't necessarily think it's going to beat Atlantic City if that's who I think's moving on, right? So that's not like making a run here. And if Hollywood makes a run or Somerset Hills makes a run, that's not really making a run, right? Because they're not sleepers. I think the one I'd have to say, Mike, based on our knowledge of their following, would be Galloping Hill. It wouldn't shock me if they beat the Ridge. And then I know people, like the membership loves Baltusrol lower, but I think that's the people know, like if you don't know Baltusrol or haven't played there, the upper is the course that they know. I'm sorry, the lower is the course that they know. So that's not necessarily going to make it happen. I'm going to have to say Rock Springs, Mike, because I don't, again, with lower being the bigger pull at Baltusrol, Rock Spring could potentially, with its following, upset Baltusrol. But then you're matching up with Bayonne. I don't know if Rock Spring can take on those two giants. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's Galloping Hill, but I can't see it beating the lower course. So then that means we're going to the other side of the bracket. It's probably Architects makes the run. Yeah, I'll go Architects or Galloping Hill. As my
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what I will say is I'll give Kemper Sports a huge shout out here because they did have 3 of their golf courses move on, and a huge brand like that shared all the stories. The only one that went down from their portfolio was Berkshire Valley. But when they're playing Baltusrol upper, it's kind of a tough matchup there.
Yeah.
But I will say 3 of their courses got through. Obviously, they're all on the same side, so it's a little tough that they're going to have a finals matchup. But I will say this: my finals prediction is staying intact. But here's my upset of the week. Okay, this is what I think happens. I think Heron Glen upsets Baltusrol lower, and I think Heron Glen is one of those sneaky, quiet, beautiful public golf courses that has a good following, that pictures really show at that spot, and I think they're just a quiet assassin.
Okay.
I truly do.
Wow. Have you played Heron Glen? I know we've talked about it, but
Never.
And I haven't either. I know we talked about it with Panda, so we got to get there, Mike. That's a 36 day. That's a big bold statement for you to say, having never played it.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, there's certain golf courses for me that just hit from an optic standpoint. And every time I see a picture from Heron Glen, whether it's from their Instagram, their website, I'm just like, wow, this is pretty good. And I do know someone that went out and played it this summer, and they did text me back and say, listen, thanks for the recommendation on Heron Glen. It was an unbelievable public golf course. And for someone to shoot me a text after me recommending it, after not even playing it, again, I think is kind of a nice thing and a spot. Again, I know you say we need to get there. I probably need to say that about all these spots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my prediction this week. That's my upset of the week. And listen, voting goes live right at 12 noon. Okay. Voting goes live right at 12 noon. You'll see it out there. You have to get your votes in. It'll be up on the story for 24 hours. It'll give everybody plenty of time to cast their vote, whether you're jumping on right away. Exciting times here on the Drop Podcast. Exciting times.
100%, Mike. 100%. It's a big day Wednesday. You got the voting. You got we got our Hamilton Varm video coming out. Big stuff happening on Wednesday. So make sure you're staying locked into onto our socials, onto our pages. Big stuff coming.
And guess what? It's right around the corner.
Do. It's supposed to be the Masters theme song.
I was more thinking about April 1st, you and I teeing the ball up finally.
Oh yeah. It's starting to count it.
Hopefully I'm going to try to qualify for the Masters. Maybe they'll send me a special invite.
Can we get some insight, Mike? Are you and Austin going to be teaming up again this year for the New Jersey 4 ball?
Yes.
Yay!
We did send our registration form in.
Okay.
Um,
We got to qualify, right?
been-
Do we have a qualifying site?
Yep, we're going out to Little Mill, a spot that you and I ventured at
Little Mill.
way early in the podcast with our boy Troy Vanucci. So we'll be heading out there.
You think Troy's going to have to
April.
qualify at his own club?
I don't even know if Troy plays in the 4-ball, to be that honest with you. I don't know if he does.
I'll tell you what, Troy, if you need a partner, I'm here for you.
You can't play. We've got over this. Your index is too high. You got to keep going low.
I'm trying.
You got to bring that bad boy down. I know.
Trying.
But
it's only going to go up first because the two next scores to get kicked out, and a guest that we have coming up in a few weeks will be able to shed some more light on this. But the two next scores I'm kicking out unless I start the season hot, which is unlikely. It's going to go up before it goes down.
All right, well, I'm going to end you with this line that I want you to think about after that negative comment, okay? Then you can say your little cheers here at the end. Good things happen when you think good things.
That's all for our show today. Stay tuned Thursday. We have the one, the only, Danny Rappaport, D-Rap, the Adam Schefter of golf. A huge interview. We're super fortunate, lucky to have him on. He's such a great dude. Stay tuned for that on Thursday. Till then, cheers.